Hey, friends. Welcome to the Swing My Heart podcast. Come join me, your host, Nicole, for some hope-filled conversations about heartfelt entertainment that makes your heart swing. Hey, Hallmarkies. Welcome to the Swing My Heart podcast. I'm your host, Nicole, joined today by my good friend, Catherine, from the Rom-Com Love podcast to talk about two movies today, To Barcelona with Love and To Barcelona Forever. But first, To Barcelona with Love. These movies star Allison Sweeney and Ashley Williams, along with, I apologize if I mispronounce your names, Alejandro Tus and Miguel Broca. They were written by Julie Sherman Wolfe and directed by Ron Oliver. In To Barcelona with Love, Erica, an American translator, secretly revises a novel set in Barcelona. Everything is fine until bookstore owner Nico invites the credited author Anna to the city for a book signing. Welcome to the podcast, Catherine. I'm excited to have you on.
Thank you, Nicole, for having me. I'm excited to talk about these ones. They were a great kickoff for our Passport to Love month.
Yes, they were. So, what were your first impressions on To Barcelona with Love?
Well, immediately I was like, it felt like a 90s rom-com, which made me thrilled to pieces. I was really excited about the fact that there seems to be, and specifically, I knew going into it that we were going to get more of the sisterhood story, but I was excited that we actually had quite a bit of calm. Like, I just wasn't expecting there to be as many like one-liners, but with Ashley, she's like queen of her own facial expressions and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So in that aspect, I like it was one of those ones, and it had been a long time since I immediately wanted to rewatch. Like, it was that feel good that I was like, oh, I'll go back and rewatch it. Of course, the rewatch brought a little different opinions on some stuff.
Yeah.
But overall, as a first time, to me, it was honestly just a warm hug of something that had been kind of missing from movies that I had seen from the actually I don't even know if I could tell you one movie that I saw all the way through until then. So they weren't really holding my interest. And I know some
Oh,
people,
yeah.
that kind of him and Han about ones that they did like, but this one for me was like, this is how it should be.
Yeah.
These are great rom-coms, and this is what I'm looking for.
It was really great, in my opinion. As of right now, it is in my top 10 for
Okay.
Hallmark rom-coms, so to speak. So non-Christmas movies.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed it. I thought the dynamic between Ashley and Allison was great, and we know that they're really good friends off screen too. So
Mm-hmm.
that makes it even stronger on screen.
Oh, 1000%. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can tell they're definitely got that sisterly vibe with them.
Yes. I think another first impression is, can we get Alejandro Tus in more Hallmark movies, please? Because he is great.
Oh, I actually, yes, I would agree on that, but I actually would even go a step above. Can we get more Miguel?
Yes, both of them.
Yes,
I would love
yeah, but yeah, no, it was, and I honestly don't know. I didn't research too much. I'm assuming that they were local Spanish actors. That I know for Miguel, I know he was, but I didn't know if there necessarily had been more that Alejandro had been in. So I didn't really do a lot of research on him.
Yeah, but they were both great. And I thought
Yeah.
that
Oh no. Yeah. Yep.
the dynamic that they had with their leading ladies was great.
Can we actually even get more of the best friend? Because the flower shop guy,
Yes,
yes, he needs his own.
Mateo.
That's yeah, he needs his own movie too.
Yes, I loved the best friend, Mateo. And I'll get more into
Hmm.
that in our next segment because I do have a comment about him in this
Okay,
segment. Yes, a positive one, of course. Yes.
I
So,
don't think you could not have anything but a positive. He was a good best friend.
yeah, he really was.
Yeah.
So, let's go into highs, lows, and plot holes where we break down the strengths and weaknesses or what worked and what didn't work for this movie. Would you like to share some of your highs, lows, and maybe plot holes?
Well, for me, what I thought was interesting, and I know that this is now you're supposed to be able to see these one at a time, or like that they, like if you didn't see one, you were going to be okay watching the other one. And for the most part, I feel like in the love stories that of course happened, but in the actual friendship, I really don't feel that would be the case. I feel like you had to see one before you saw
Oh,
two.
the other.
Just that's just how I felt about it. But like I said, if I'm separating the romance versus the friendship, but what I thought was really intriguing and yet I loved because of the fact that they were able to do this with two, each movie started with the actress that wasn't the love story for that movie. It was Anna's story that we started to Barcelona with love with,
Yeah.
and then her, like just and so you would think that we are going to get into her love story, and that wasn't the case. And then I was kind of wondering if they would do that for forever, and they did. And so I really liked that just because it's something that you hadn't seen before and they had the flexibility to be able to do that. But yeah, originally I'm like, which one am I watching again for the love story? Like I had to second guess myself there for the
Yeah.
first. I will say plot hole wise, I can believe the friendship, but I can't believe how quickly the friendship happened. While Anna needed Erica because she was completely lost, especially once Erica had redone her book and she knew nothing about what was in it. She needed that connection to be able to play the part of being that author. I just felt like it just was the forgiveness aspect. And granted, we only got 2 hours, so I'm gonna not be too
Yeah.
picky about it. But it just, I'm like, okay, that was a really quick turnaround. Well, you need somebody, how they quickly all of a sudden were like BFFs was a little hard for me, but that's just being super picky. And what didn't work was unfortunately for me, I didn't like the love story of Erica and
Okay.
Nico. I liked the theme of the love story, the friends who are,
That's
dancing
lovely.
around that but they danced around it way too long and we had too much of a triangle for way too long in the movie. Now, and I know that they did that because they could separate and stretch it out for two stories. They didn't have to have their wedding in this one. But when we were three-fourths through the movie and it was still Anna finally realizing that Erica was, oh, you love him. I was like, didn't you discover that when you were back looking at the cathedral, like a while ago? So that one, that for me was a little bit frustrating, yet it was the opposite in the next movie. So, um, so I don't know, but that's just me being nitpicky.
No, I didn't really come to that realization, so to speak, on my first watch.
Mm.
But when I rewatched it, I could
Okay, so I'm not the only one who feels it was a little slow moving of why,
a
like
little
it just didn't.
too slow, but I do think that they had great chemistry.
Yes. Oh yeah, together as a couple,
Yeah.
I agree with you. Good chemistry. I love the friends to lovers. I mean, so all of that was great for me. It just was. I think that I don't know if it was just because they could. It was just dragged out a lot longer than I was anticipating, just on how fast everything else in the movie went. Like how fast there was forgiveness, how fast they were friends, and they were a trio doing everything because once again, Anna needed, especially the interpretation and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So,
So my highs, the setting, of
mm,
course, with Barcelona, the strong female friendships and character development, the romance and chemistry, except for what we just talked about.
mm,
The unique premise. This isn't something that we've seen a whole lot on Hallmark.
mhm.
And I said this in my interview with Ashley, but it was when we were talking about books. My favorite, or one of my favorite non-Hallmark rom-coms is Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So, just referring to female friendship. I loved that this movie was a female friendship driven
Hmm.
movie.
Yeah.
And while I can't relate to it because I'm only in my 30s, the focus on midlife growth I thought was great. Fantastic lead and supporting cast. Going back to Mateo, I loved
Mm.
how supportive he was of Erica. He was basically just like her cheerleader with
Yeah.
romance and with, her career. So I thought that was great.
Hmm. Yeah.
Positive messaging, and then some great comedy, especially from Ashley. And I wrote a couple of
Hmm.
examples down. So the first scene when she's at the bookstore and, you know, her agent, I guess, is talking about
Hmm.
how she's never been to Barcelona. And she was like, well, I walked in Barcelona with the Google Street View.
Yeah.
Oh,
Tomato, tomato.
tomato, tomato. And then I think a few minutes later, maybe in the next scene or the scene after that, when she's walking down one of the streets in the city, watching the video on Sant
And
Jordi Day,
yeah,
and she's like, I totally should have used this in the book.
I know. Yeah. Well, what was fun about that was when you saw Julie's interview is she didn't go to Barcelona herself until it was filming. So she's essentially talking about herself as this character of, like, yeah, I got all my information from the textbooks and the Google Maps and
Yeah. Yes.
I really liked how she incorporated
Yeah.
her own reality in that.
Yes.
So,
And fun fact, I think Ashley mentioned it in my interview with her. She had been to Barcelona before filming this movie, like a
oh,
long
okay.
time ago. So
Okay.
she got to see some of the sights again a second time, which was pretty cool.
Hmm.
And Anna meeting Erica was a great little comedic scene. I loved how she thought
She's
Erica
her assistant.
was the assistant.
Y-
And Anna with the fish was hilarious, carrying that big fish around.
Wasn't that a ham?
Or maybe it was a ham.
It was a ham, yeah. Because those were actually my scene stealers. Those are
Okay, which we'll
those
talk
I put
about.
under the scene stealers
Yeah.
as my highlights.
And last little comedic scene I wrote down, it was after they had just seen the cathedral,
Hmm.
and Nico and Erica were doing the dance, the croqueta, croqueta.
Yeah, yeah. See, now that's where I kind of thought that, she was catching on more than apparently she was. I mean, or she just didn't want to catch on. But I was like, they've got their own secret language. I am definitely the third wheel here. Yet
Yeah,
I think that was where I expected the conversation to happen pretty
yeah,
much after that.
yes,
But once again, nitpicky.
yes. And I think my only low, now this definitely isn't a criticism because Julie is a fantastic writer,
Hmm.
but I just wish that the secret that they had didn't last as long as it did.
Mm. So for me, it was the triangle not lasting as long as it did, and for you, it was the secret about her being that. Oh, it's just the secret in general from Nico.
The secret, yeah, from Nico. Yeah,
Okay,
is how long they
yeah,
kept it from Nico. I thought
yeah,
he should have known sooner. But I understand it probably was part of the story too. So
yeah.
to force Nico and Erica to realize their feelings
Finally,
for each
yeah,
other.
yeah.
Yeah. So in that sense, it was done well. So for our next segment, Beyond the Credits, we will talk about character arc and development. So what were your thoughts on Erica, Anna, and I guess Nico's character development in this movie?
Well, I appreciated that it was an older story, or was it older story, later in life story, but also a later in life story that it's never too late and changes can happen. And I feel like each of them Well, it was a little weird to kind of have the three, all of a sudden for them to be like a full-on triangle to begin with, too. They all needed each other in an individual way. Because if you go back, like like whereas I found it like Anna was just like, oh, this is what this is about. This is why I'm here. This is my love story. Because oh, I will say one of the things that stood out completely to me in this is about the character development. Something that resonated so much with me being in my mid 40s myself is I thought this and this would happen by now. And this and this hasn't happened. And so it was just that kind of like they needed each other to push each other to make those things happen, even if it wasn't how they were expecting it to happen. And that includes like when Anna had said to Erica, like, oh, hey, this is about my love and it's with him, with Nico. And of course, Erica's, deeply in love with the guy and trying to play it off. And it took also Anna to discover more about herself. And she needed to get that testing because there's questions that Nico asked her that she's like, oh, we're not compatible. And then there were questions that Erica asked her. And so while I thought it was a little odd that they were kind of together as much as they were, it was needed to push everybody's arc and their own stories to where it was supposed to be for the end.
I agree. So for me, I loved with Erica, her journey. She is an American translator living in Barcelona, which we already knew. And,
Mm-hmm.
she rewrote a novel set in the city. Anna wrote, and she is in love with Nico, a bookstore owner, but struggles to express her feelings, hindered by an NDA preventing her from revealing. She translated the popular version of Anna's book, whose words resonate with Nico. I love her transformation through this movie, how she is, initially cynical and realistic, but she learns to embrace her authentic voice and take risks, culminating in the declaration of love to Nico.
Mm-hmm.
And for Anna, she's initially presented as awkward and focused on finding romantic love, believing fate brought her to Barcelona for this purpose, which you just mentioned. She initially struggles with writing and is prone to putting her foot in her mouth. Yes.
I just want to be her BFF because she didn't care that she's putting her foot in her mouth either.
Nope. Example when she meets Erica. Foot
Somehow
in
I
mouth.
just saw so much more. I mean, not that Ashley is that person, but Ashley
No.
just being so giddy herself. I was like, that's totally an Ashley thing.
Yes. Yep.
Friends with everyone.
Yes. Exactly. And I love her transformation in this movie. It's a journey of self-discovery, exploring
Mm-hmm.
her true passions and talents beyond the initial pursuit of a love with Nico. She
Mm-hmm.
discovers her talent for writing about food and begins a food blog. And one of those scenes when she is writing about food or blogging about food, this reveals a new direction in her career. Despite initial selfish behavior, despite reluctance to take responsibility for writing, she ultimately embraces the importance of her craft and collaborates with Erica on a short story.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that her journey was done very well in this movie. And I also love the shared journey of friendship with Erica and Anna in this movie. And I think we already talked about it, but in my opinion, it's a journey that is as important as the romantic storyline in the
Mm-hmm.
movie.
I would agree with you on that. And I actually, I mean, I really feel like that it was the actual love story in, in its own way. So at least in movie one, in
Yes.
this movie specifically.
Yes. And for Nico, we have, his inspiring affection and honesty, his genuine love for the book, and by extension, Erica's translation, because in the beginning of the movie, we see he thinks it's Anna that wrote the book.
Mm-hmm.
It's Anna's words, but it's really Erica's.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what, prompts the invitation to Anna to go to Barcelona, and it sets in motion the entire plot and forces Erica to confront her secret passion and be honest about her contributions. His charm and attractive qualities attract both Erica and Anna. I
Hmm.
love that scene when they're at the table outside. I think it's one of the first scenes that all three of them are in. And she's like, "Oh, did you feel that? That was a spark."
Yeah. Yeah. It was
Um,
after that she's like, that's my story.
yes,
That's what
exactly.
this is. Yeah.
So his charm and attractive qualities create the romantic tension of the film. He initially falls for Anna, not realizing that it is Erica's words he's falling in love with.
Hmm.
And just to end off Nico's journey, what I loved most is his authentic appreciation for Erica and her talent for writing. Yeah.
I agree. Yeah. And I love that both of the men in this pushed
Yeah.
the women. I mean, Mateo was just
Yeah.
right there too,
Yes.
like, I
Yeah.
mean, he flat out was telling her how it was, even though she refused to believe. And he's just
Yep.
like, the guy's giving you roses, even if it isn't the right time.
Yes. Exactly.
So, yeah, I
So
agree with you.
our next segment is the scene stealer, where we talk about a couple of our favorite scenes, the best performance, and if there's a quote that really stood out to you. So, what were maybe three of your favorite scenes?
First of all, I loved when they meet in the hotel lobby. I
Mhm.
love that Anna comes in like a wrecking ball in her own way.
Mm. Yep.
And she's like, "Oh, that's my book. Do you want me to sign it?" And and all these people are kind of like, I don't think that everybody's first thing is necessarily to get the author's signature, but she's just so excited because
Mhm.
obviously, this book is being loved in this one place where she's like, why isn't it being loved everywhere else? So I just thought that was cute. And then her mistaking Erica for being her assistant. And then when she's like, kind of like resigned to the fact that it's not as fancy as she thought it was going to be. And so she doesn't get an assistant. And then my favorite one liner of the entire thing is she goes, "Here, hold this." And then as she's walking away, "Look at, we're holding things. That's why we needed an assistant."
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't know why, but it still makes me laugh. I think
Yeah.
it was just Ashley's delivery. And she
Yes.
was just like, because I think she's like, well, look, I'm a big time author now and I get an assistant. Oh, I don't. Okay, well, but this is why we needed one. So I just thought that whole scene and even the miscommunications between the two of them was just really done well and so playful. My second absolute favorite scene in this one was the ham. When it was discovered, and and I was like, I knew I didn't write about the dolphin, and then all these things. And so she's mad at the same time as she's carrying this big ham, and then she's,
Yeah.
and also, what was she supposed to do with the ham? I mean, I still am guessing on that. Like, I just thought that the use of it as a prop during the scene that would have been her. So she's so embarrassed, number one. Two, she's frustrated. And then three, so confused. And then it's just about this gigantic ham. And then they're, even to the point where they, are outside and she's like trying to toss it to Erica,
Yeah.
basically. But it was the comedy aspect of it was just perfection for such a heavier portion of a story too.
I agree.
So those were my two
Yeah.
favorites.
So for me, a couple of my favorite scenes, I really loved the one when Nico is showing Erica and Anna where his great grandfather Leo used to bind books 100 years
Mm,
ago, and they're talking about Sant Jordi's Day. And then the story that Erica shares with Anna on their little walk and talk through the city about how she ended up in Barcelona. Also, Nico and Erica watching football or
mm,
soccer
mm-hmm.
and looking at the roses, Erica and Anna's talk on the balcony about becoming friends, and then the confession of feelings for Nico and Erica. I know that's more than three, but I just
I'm
couldn't
like, I'm
stop.
like, just give me the calm. And you're like, I really love the heartfelt moments. And I'm like, give me more comedy.
Yes. But those were some of my favorite scenes. And I love this quote, and it's in the scene when Nico is showing Erica and Anna where his great grandfather used to bind books. And it's in reference to Rosa Montero's short stories. And love isn't just about the epic romances, it's also in the everyday. Who does that sound like? Cough, cough.
I don't know. Yes, you're right. That reminds me. There were things that it always comes back to me like lines that you're like, oh, I need to make this into an edit, and then I'll forget. That reminds me that was one of them.
Yeah. Yes. It all comes
Oh,
back to when calls the heart.
I mean, well, that's how we all connected. So yeah, it does.
Yes. And then another one, fate weaves its tapestry in many ways. And that was Nico that said that to Anna. And
Mm-hmm.
then Erica kind of follows up with what he said with sometimes it's hard to understand why things fail, but with time, everything becomes clear.
Mm-hmm.
And in a way, I can kind of relate to that with the podcast
Mm.
because there are certain things that I want to happen with this podcast, certain people I want to get on my show, and I just can't yet, and I don't understand why.
You know what? And it's ironic that you say that because I have to constantly say to myself, trust the timing. So I'm going off of your quotes.
I need to take I need to take a page out of the Postables book and just keep trusting the timing. I did that with Daniel Lissing getting on my
Yeah.
podcast. So just
No, but I agree with you, especially if you're going to talk podcasts when there's so many and there's so much stuff that's
yeah.
happening, and you're just like, I don't get it. But it's literally because I actually, I'll be honest, I don't know if how I didn't even know you had Ashley on. I don't know how I missed that. And it could have been that I was taking, I mean, I did have a loss in June, so I wasn't on my phone as much, but I was just like, I'm like, oh, well, shoot, that would have been good to see right about the time. I'll go back and look at it.
Of
But
course. Yeah.
she's definitely on that list for me too, where I'm just like, well, I just want to be her BFF in real life. And I know she's got a gazillion of them, but can I be a gazillion in one?
She's so fun to talk to.
Oh, yeah, she seems like such a
Yeah.
sweetheart. Oh,
Yes.
actually, I did meet her. I met her at ALZ.
Oh, that's so
Very,
great.
very, very, very briefly, but
Yeah.
I did get to say hi.
Yes, I met her at Rama Drama in person.
You know, the first day she was next to Brittany. She was next to Brittany's booth
Yeah.
the first day. So I said hi, but I was so busy trying to do my job over here
Mhm.
and trying to understand what my role was because it was first time nerves. So I really didn't, like didn't pay. I sadly didn't use that time to really get to visit. And then we got moved, and
Yes, you do.
we ended up moving and switching with Ryan Pavey. And so then
Yeah.
we weren't by Ashley the next day. So I
Oh,
was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, I missed my connection.
Yeah, exactly. So our next segment is Behind the Frame, where we dive into themes, symbolism, and or the message of this movie. What were some themes, symbolism, and messages you took out of this movie?
I mean, I had to go back to, well, I'm going to say trust the timing because,
Mhm. Yeah.
which is kind of ironic that I'm saying that because I also felt the timing was a little slow. So it doesn't always mean that you're going to like the timing,
Yeah.
but all of them, and I think it's for me as a trust the timing for myself, the ones that were floundering for whatever purpose it was for their own individualism of why things weren't working out for them got clarity. And to me, I think that was just the message that I had to bring home over and over again for myself. And all of that does come down to trust the timing. Just because something didn't happen at one specific time, it doesn't mean it's not going to happen. And, and that's a reminder that I'm often told by a friend of mine, where it's just like, you're the only one putting your own limitations on there. And that's kind of similar to limitations that both of them were putting, like, I can't tell him that he won't, I can hide behind an NDA or whatever, or, like I like food, but do I like it enough to make a career out of it? When obviously, like she made friends everywhere she went. So, like, and I look at that character being like, there should have been no fear in her because to make friends everywhere you go is so, it's, such a great quality to have. And so, anyways, I'm gonna go trust the timing, even though that's once again, it's kind of counterintuitive.
So, some of the themes I took out of this were self-discovery and reinvention. So, the movie explores the idea of finding your true passion and purpose, even later in life.
Mm-hmm.
Friendship with Erica and Anna. Love and romance, of course. That's a normal,
Mm-hmm.
usual theme with Hallmark movies. Following your heart and having courage. And then authenticity and self-expression. So going to symbolism, Barcelona, it serves as more than just a backdrop. It is really a character in itself.
Mm-hmm.
And can we just talk about the cinematography for a minute? Because
Oh, gorgeous.
Ron Oliver did a great job directing these
Mm-hmm.
movies.
Yeah.
He's a fantastic director. It highlights the beauty and vibrant culture,
Mm-hmm.
showcasing sites like the Sagrada Familia and La Bucaria. I apologize if I mispronounced that. I did not take Spanish in high school. I took French, so I
I
apologize.
couldn't tell you if you did or didn't, so it sounds great to me.
Yes. It represents a place of inspiration, romance, and new beginnings. And then books and literature. The novel Barcelona, Mi Amor is a crucial plot device representing the power of storytelling, the impact of translation, and the different perspectives people can bring into creative work. Of course, also the Sant Jordi Day Festival, which is a Spanish tradition and it emphasizes the connection between love and literature. And then roses are associated with St. George's Day, symbolizing love and gratitude, and tied to the legend of St. George saving the princess from a dragon and offering her a rose. I think they mentioned that in the beginning of this movie, but I can't remember for sure. It might have been in that
Yeah,
video.
I don't remember if that was mentioned. I just remember being I learned a lot because
Yeah,
I have been to the outskirts of Barcelona, and
oh, that's awesome.
one thing that I really wish I actually would have explored and had the opportunity to explore, but I do, like, I remember we did walk through a street carnival type of a situation where they had dancing masks and stuff like that. And so I, like I had to sit there and wonder, and I was there in June. So I'm like, was that just a Saturday down the road in this town? Or was, like, was I there when something big was happening to the culture? And it made me think, because it also kind of reminds me to be a tourist in your own town too.
Mm-hmm.
When you're like so mesmerized by whatever, like
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, we've got a tulip festival, and I'm like,
Yeah.
that would be cool to go to. So anyways, that's not what you're asking, but it gave me,
No worries.
and that's what I love about these things too, is that they speak to you differently each, and each time you watch it, they speak to you a little differently too.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So the messages I got out of this movie, don't be afraid to embrace change and pursue your dreams, no matter your age or stage in life.
Mhm.
True happiness comes from recognizing and chasing what truly brings you joy, and supportive friendships can help you navigate challenges and discover your true self.
Mhm.
There's some great messages in this movie. So for our fan feedback segment, we did get two responses back, but since this is a two-part series of movies, we will save those for the end of To Barcelona Forever. So, going to Final Frame, your closing thoughts about this movie. Watch or skip, and what would you rate it on a scale of 1 to 5? 5 being the best, of course.
So definitely a rewatch. Like I said, just kind of a warm hug and more of the type of movies that
Yeah.
I would like to see personally. I love the com with the rom. And kind of up and down, but I would give mine a 3.5. I really I really loved the messages. I loved the destination and how, like you said, how it was a character in itself. Learned so much myself. I just there were some parts of it that weren't enough to bump it up to a 4 for me. So I'd give it a 3.5.
Actually, we're on the same page
Oh,
because that's what I rated the movie on Letterboxd too, 3.5.
okay.
But 3.5 to 5 is good for me. If a rating is 3 or below, it's usually kind of so-so for me.
Mm.
But 3.5 to 5 is like my
This
average.
is your wheelhouse.
Yes,
This is where it's good. Okay, got
yes.
it.
It was a great movie. I really
Mhm.
enjoyed it. And can't wait to talk about the next one. Literally in just a few minutes.
Stay tuned. Wink,
Stay
wink.
tuned, yes. Well, thank you, Catherine, for joining me. Of course, like I just said, I can't wait to join you for the Barcelona Forever in just a few minutes. But anyway, Hallmarkies, I think that wraps up our review of To Barcelona with Love. If you enjoyed this episode and are watching on YouTube, you can like this video and share your thoughts about the movie in the comments. If you are listening on Spotify, make sure to rate and review, as your feedback is always greatly appreciated. If you want to stay up to date on all of my episodes, you can subscribe to this channel on YouTube or follow along on Spotify, and make sure to turn on the bell so you are alerted when those new episodes come. You can also find the podcast on Facebook and Instagram at Swing My Heart Podcast and Twitter at Swing My Heart Pod. I also have a TeePublic merch store that you can check out, which I will link in the description of this video. Thank you so much for listening. We hope you have a wonderful day or night wherever you are in the world, and we will see you very soon for our next review. We love y'all. Bye!
Bye.